Hey everyone, today we're going to start chapter 14. And in this chapter, we're just going to talk about the digestive system, organs, and functions. We are not going to be talking about body metabolism in terms of health and the food pyramid because that should have been covered within your health class. So let's first talk about what, how, and why for the digestive system. Well, the digestive system's what is it does two things. One, it breaks down food into nutrients so that your body can use them for metabolic processes such as making ATP or energy. And it also, the second step is it gets rid of any body waste or materials that you have ingested that you cannot use, like fiber. How does it do this? Well, it breaks down food by two ways: mechanical breakdown by chewing, or through chemical breakdown, such as releasing enzymes to digest food. And then those are going to be absorbed into your bloodstream, which is transported to the rest of your body. Why is this important? Why do we study the digestive system? Well, it is essential for giving our body energy and the building blocks needed to maintain life and stay alive. So, in terms of the anatomy of the digestive system, there are two main groups. The first group is your alimentary canal, also known as your gastrointestinal or GI tract. Oftentimes, you may also hear it be known as the gut. This is a continuous coil hollow tube. Organs that are part of the alimentary canal take in food, break it down, absorb those nutrients, and then gets rid of any materials that you cannot use in the form of feces. The second major group of organs are known as accessory or digestive organs. These include teeth, the tongue, a lot of large digestive glands as well. And these just assist in digestion, whether it be moving food, mechanically breaking down food, or releasing enzymes or juices to help break them down food even further. Here we have our alimentary and accessory organs outlined in this image. Our alimentary canal organs are going to be things like our mouth, esophagus, small intestine, large intestine, stomach, and pharynx. So I'm going to go ahead and circle those. Our accessory organs are going to be things like our liver, gallbladder, salivary glands, our tongue, and then even our teeth. In terms of organs of the alimentary canal, we already stated that it is a hollow tube. But the other thing I want to reiterate, and I'm going to underline it, is it extends all the way from your mouth all the way to your anus. It includes your mouth, your pharynx, which is also known as your throat, your esophagus, stomach, small and large intestine, and eventually your anus. Fun fact, any food that you have taken in and is going through your digestive tract is actually technically outside the body because it only has contact with cells that are part of that long tube. And that tube is open to the external environment through your mouth and through your anus. The analogy it used is a donut. Usually, if you get a glazed donut or a donut, there's a hole in the center. That is just a hollow tube. If it was extended and you stick your finger in it, your finger's not technically in the donut. So I guess they use that same analogy for food within your digestive tract. Also, when we talk about the anatomy of the digestive tract, we need to talk about the layers that make up alimentary canal organs. There are four layers from innermost to outermost, and these layers are going to be located in the esophagus to your large intestine, not in your mouth or your throat. Those four layers are mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and serosa. So again, these are only going to be located from your esophagus down, not in your pharynx and not in your mouth. So if we talk about the layers, the first layer is your mucosa layer, it's your innermost. It is a moist membrane that's mostly made up of surface epithelium of columnar cells, but also in the esophagus you will find stratified squamous. And the reason you're going to find a lot of stratified squamous in your esophagus is because these is where you're going to have high friction from food being swallowed down your esophagus. There are small amounts of connective tissue, and very, very little smooth muscle tissue. Again, the whole function of these is to line your hollow cavity. The second layer is the submucosa. This is located just below the first layer. This is going to be where you're going to find a lot of blood vessels, a lot of your nerve endings, and a lot of lymphatic vessels. So remember, lymphatic is going to be used for your immune system. So it fights infection. The third layer is your muscularis externa. So think of the word muscularis. This is where you're going to find your smooth muscle that helps move things through your digestive tract. There are two layers, your inner circular layer and your outer longitudinal layer. And then the fourth layer is your serosa layer. This is going to be the outermost layer that contains fluid producing cells or serous fluid. And again, hopefully you remember your serous fluid helps reduce friction. Just like when we learned about the heart and the lungs, there are two layers, visceral, and the word we're going to use here is peritoneum, and parietal peritoneum. Both of these support organs within your abdominal cavity. So over here, if we're going to look at the picture, we have our innermost layer, which is our mucosa. So that's your first layer. So here it just lines that hollow tube that you have. The second layer is the submucosa. So if you look within the submucosa, you can see here's your green. This is going to be your lymphatic tissue or lymphoid tissue. If you see the blue, that's going to be a vein. If you see red, it's artery. And then the yellow here is going to be your nerve endings going through it. The third layer is your muscularis externa. So here you can see the longitudinal muscle, and then here you can see the circular muscle. There are two layers. And the fourth one is your serosa, and this one specifically looking at your visceral peritoneum that kind of cover the whole entire digestive tract. In terms of how are they controlled, there are two major nerves that help control the alimentary canal or how food moves through the digestive tract. These are part of the autonomic nervous system. Specifically, it's going to be the parasympathetic division or your resting and digesting division. The two major nerve plexuses are submucosal and mesenteric. Again, these regulate mobility, and it also regulates what digestive juices and enzymes are secreted into your digestive tract. So if you were looking for these, here's your intrinsic nerve plexus. Again, they're going to be located in different layers. Most of them are going to be located within that submucosa layer, but you can also find it down here in your muscularis externa layer, telling those muscles to contract. In terms of accessory digestive organs, things like your teeth, I would also include your tongue, salivary glands, pancreas, liver, and gallbladder. So they're located in this picture, your tongue, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas, and even up here your salivary glands. In terms of the gastrointestinal processes or the functions of your GI tract and even the functions of your accessory organs, there are 6 major functions, I believe. The first one is ingestion. This is just a voluntary process of you putting food into your mouth. The second function is propulsion, and this is movement of food from one region of your digestive system to another. So, for example, food going from your mouth down your esophagus. One form of propulsion, and the most famous one, is peristalsis. These are just alternating waves of contraction between the smooth muscle found in those layers, and it helps squeeze food along your digestive tract. It's involuntary, you don't have control over it. The second type is called segmentation, and this is just a movement of materials back and forth. It fosters mixing, and this happens in your small intestine. So here is a good example of peristalsis. The smooth muscle in the layer squeezes and it moves food down through your esophagus, your small intestine, or even your large intestine. The third major process is food breakdown using mechanical breakdown. This is where you physically fragment your food into smaller pieces, such as chewing your food or moving it around your mouth with your tongue. Also, when food is churned or mixed in your stomach, and even segmentation or movement of food through your small intestine. Mechanical digestion is important because it helps break those into smaller pieces to prepare it for enzymes being able to break it down even further. The fourth type of food breakdown is digestion. Digestion occurs when enzymes break them down into building blocks. Now, each major food group uses different enzymes to break it down into different building blocks. For example, one, carbohydrates. They are broken down into something known as monosaccharides. So, saccharide means sugar. So if you hear the word polysaccharide, that means many sugars. These are things like starches that you eat, or even cellulose that's found in plants, which you can't digest cellulose. You have disaccharides. Di means two. These are things like sucrose, which again is table sugar, lactose, which is going to be found in milk, and then maltose, which is found in a lot of grains. And then these are all going to be broken down into monosaccharides like glucose, which is very important for cellular respiration, fructose, which is fruit sugar, and even galactose, which is found in milk. If we're going to talk about the other major food groups, you also have proteins. These proteins get broken down into something called polypeptides, which are further broken down into amino acids. And then you have fats, also known as lipids, and these are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. So here, these are flowcharts of digestion and absorption that you can refer to back when we talk about these different organs. For example, if we were talking about starch starts its breakdown in the mouth, and it's further broken down in the small intestine. And then from there, it gets broken down into simple sugars. Then it can be reabsorbed. If we're going to be talking about protein, protein is not even broken down until it reaches the stomach. There's no digestion in the mouth at all. Again, protein gets broken down into polypeptides and eventually down into amino acids. Even fats. Fats, in fact, don't even start getting broken down until the small intestine. So it has to go all the way through your esophagus, stomach, until it reaches the small intestine. That's when fats start getting broken down. The other processes or functions is absorption. This mainly occurs in your small intestine. The end products of digestion are absorbed into your blood or your lymph nodes. And the way they do this is they enter mucosal cells found in those cell layers and they move them to the blood and lymph through capillaries. And then the last step is defecation. And this is just elimination of waste that you couldn't use through your anus in the form of feces or otherwise known as poop. Last but not least, we're going to round out this lesson by talking about, well, how are all of these functions controlled? Well, digestive activity is controlled by reflexes in your parasympathetic nervous system of your automatic nervous system. So hopefully remember your parasympathetic is your resting and digesting system. What happens is your cells are going to respond to different stimuli. For example, it's going to respond to your organs stretching and filling with food. It's going to respond to pH levels, whether it's something acidic or very alkaline or basic. And then it's also going to pay attention to the presence of different products in the digestive system. Do I have protein that need broken down? Do I have carbohydrates? And then once you pick up these stimuli, it causes your body to either create digestive juices, release hormones. It also causes your smooth muscles to start contracting and relaxing to help mix and propel food along your digestive tract. So here is just a summary of the activities that you can find. For example, ingestion happens in your mouth. You have mechanical breakdowns such as chewing, churning, goes down your esophagus, propulsion, so swallowing counts. It moves through peristalsis through your esophagus, stomach, small and large intestine. Here it shows digestion happening. Even if you get down all here, absorption happens. So things go out of your digestive tract into your blood vessels and your lymph. And then eventually at the end, you're going to have feces, which gets released through your anus. So that's the end of today's lesson. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help. And I hope you guys have a good day.